What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Outsiders Podcast. I am Josh Lockwood, aka Mean Dean, here for your Money in the Bank 2017 review. There's some interesting things I wanted to talk about here today. But before I do that, make sure that you go to the subscribe button somewhere down here. Make sure you hit it while you watch this video. Please, please, please do that. The wrestling community is taking enough hits on YouTube. Please subscribe. Rebel. Show them that this is important. We're also on Podomatic. That is our main podcast website at clickpod at podomatic.com. We are also on Patreon, which we'll have exclusive content out to you soon. So make sure you go on there, donate. We will give you some exclusive content. Even get to the point where if we get enough donations, we'll even create your own TOP shirt for you, designed specifically for you, with your name on it, signed by us, Mean Dean, JG, and Tommy. Also, make sure you check out Spreaker.com, Podbean.com, iTunes, all that stuff, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you go to all that, like, follow, subscribe, share, whatever you need to do, do it. Like I said, we need to show everybody in the wrestling community, especially YouTube, how important wrestling is. I first wanted to start off, there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about. I want to start off in terms of how I rate this pay-per-view, and generally it's a 1 to 10 scale, and that's what I'm going to follow this time. And we'll even start as far as the Kickoff show. But before I get on that, I want to say something. Money in the Bank was such a revolutionary idea when it was at WrestleMania. And you always knew there'd be big spots, big this, big that. From what I understand, it was taken out of WrestleMania because that match specifically always stole the show. Which it did. But the other portion of it is, as I had read somewhere, and I can't remember where it was, no matter if it's bad, it's good. This wasn't entirely the case tonight. So I will start off with the Kickoff show. And let me start off by saying no build-up. The only reason this match happened on the Kickoff show was because Zack Ryder returned. So we had a return of the Hype Bros versus the Colognes. There was a couple decent spots here and there, but ultimately it was just a Zack Ryder return match. Naturally, they won. I rated the match a 4 out of 10. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. And again, on the scale of 1 to 10, you're talking about 1 being the introduction of the Wizard in WCW and 10 being Rock and Stone Cold at Mania 17. So let's just understand the scale here. But I wanted to get to one specific point. And the one specific point revolves around the very first match on the pay-per-view, the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. For those of you who didn't watch it, I'm going to go ahead and spoil a lot of this pay-per-view for you, so if you don't want to hear it, make sure you turn this off, but come back because you need to hear the updates. I can't tell you how upset I was regarding this match. Now, the build to it is the match exists. A women's Money in the Bank ladder match exists. That is your build-up. You don't need any other build-up. If it was a bunch of shitty people, then maybe you need something extra, but no, you got Charlotte, Becky, Natalya, Carmella, all these people. Not leaving anybody out, Tamina. Here's the problem. Again, I'm spoiling this. I'm going right to the end. This match was so good. There's a lot of hard-hitting moments. They're fighting like the boys, and that is what women's revolution is about. That's what women's wrestling is about. And to have some bitch like James Ellsworth show up, climb the ladder, see all these goddamn millennials cheer for him to go up and get the briefcase. And then for him to take it and throw it down to Carmella It wasn't a slap in the face to the women's revolution, the women's division. He literally hawked the nastiest loogie he could and spit in the face of not only the women in that match and their accomplishments, but the fans who have been behind this for some time now. And I know it's not Ellsworth, and I'm not saying personally Ellsworth. I'm not attacking him personally. I'm saying WWE literally spit in the face of something they've been trying to create this whole time. This isn't a joke. This isn't Santino versus Beth Phoenix. This isn't a botch or anything like that. This is literally somebody writing in, okay, how about this? We want Carmella to win and further her heel status. Only way we're going to do that is not for her to climb, because that would be ridiculous, right? It's just a woman climbing a fucking ladder, right? No, we're going to have another male do it. A male that every woman in that ring could kick his ass. Every single one. And you effectively took the momentum out of that entire division in one finish. Now, at the time, I had the match rated as a 7, because I thought it was going really, really well. And then you insert James Ellsworth in a way that spits in the face and disrespects the fans who came there, paid to see that match. I don't know. I rated the match at the end of it a 4. Not that my ratings are the end-all be-all. Not that JD's ratings are the end-all be-all. Not that What Cultures are the end-all be-all. But that we collectively feel that this was a slap in the face. A spit in the face and a punch in the dick. Or the vagina. Not leaving anybody out, since this is a women's match. I don't know. I'm over it. The second match was a tag team championship match between the New Day and the Usos. Now at this point, the New Day is wearing me down a little bit. I'm kind of tired of their gimmick. It's kind of there to sell t-shirts, really, in my opinion, for kids, and which is really funny. Because you have 3 grown men gyrating in the ring, and we're trying to sell merchandise to kids. My kid's not going to buy a t-shirt. I'll buy him an AJ one or a Shinsuke one, but not a New Day one. And it's not because of the gyration, it's because it's played out now. Usos heel are good. I like the Usos, so I was expecting pretty much what we got. Except, again, wouldn't you know it, the finish on this match was garbage, or, in the words of the great JG, fucking boo-boo. You take this match where it starts slow, you get the normal BS, the holds, the limb targeting, whatever. Start to see the high flying, you start to see the hard hits, you see some nasty bumps. I mean, Big E with that big splash on the apron almost killed Jimmy Uso. At this point, it was like, I thought maybe he got whiplash or something, but you build and build and build, you kick out of every finish, and then you count yourself out. Again, the point is to have a winner somewhere, right? So you don't have a winner technically in the Usos because they never really pinned anybody. You don't have a winner in the New Day because they're not the champs. But the biggest problem is you don't have a winner in the fan WWE universe, in the fans' eyes either. The people who went to that show usually go to the show to see it live, to see it, whatever, no big deal. The people at home really get that chance to dissect what the problems are and what the good things are. And the match, again, was rated a 7. It was pretty good. And then it went down to a 5 on the finish. Nobody won. There's no point to it. It's a championship match. There was no build to the Usos counting themselves out other than the fact that they were heels and New Day isn't. And you're going to have all those haters online saying, oh, all you do is bitch about WWE and bitch about how they book. And look, I can book this better. JG can book this better. Tommy doesn't have any fucking time, and he could book this better. JD can book this better. Adam can book this better. And I'm just supposed to bow at the mercy because it's entertainment? No. I refuse. Match was a 7, finished at a 5. Crazy. I got 2 waters here. Those of you who don't know, I actually did this whole review, 40 minutes prior to this, and I've been having some technical issues. Took my sports coat off and hit the ropes and did one of those Ric Flair elbows to my computer. It's been a pain in the ass. We had the same issue on Friday night when we went live because none of our shit works, so fingers crossed. So again, tag team title match, started at a 7, ended at a 5, another garbage finish. So let's move on to the next one. The women's championship match between Lana and Naomi. Now, here's my problem with that. And of course I'm going into the problems because I have nothing fucking good to say about it. Naomi did her thing as she always does. I respect it. Whatever. I literally listened to a 5 to 7 minute match about how the commentators were super impressed by Lana. Like, because she's never wrestled, and now she's wrestling, and she's not doing too bad. First of all, she fucking lost the match. So again, we talk about winners in wrestling. There was no winner. And the fact that Carmella brought her fake-ass boyfriend out, and her fake-ass Money in the Bank briefcase just to distract somebody, which if she would have earned it, it would have been a good angle. But it still created a loss for Lana. Not that she needed to win the title, but that there was no point in spending the money to package her the way she did and then just for her to shit out. No reason. What I don't understand is WWE spends all this money on these superstars and they just don't go anywhere with it. They don't put in the time, the effort. They just put in the money and hope it all falls together. Oy. I don't get it. Now, I have to move on to a promotion for the Fashion Vice. Tyler Breeze, Breezango. I don't need every promotion to be a joke. I don't want a good gut buster every time somebody picks up a mic. I don't need somebody to make an ass of themselves every time they step in front of the camera. What I want, just as a normal wrestling fan, is something real. I want something with conviction. I want something with a verdict, with a judgment, with something raw, something honest, and we don't get that anymore. And Breezango is one big fucking joke. And the strange thing to me, and JBL said this twice during the match, he said, in quotations, these guys are weird. They're very talented. They're very talented, but weird. End quotations. And at one point, years ago when Fandango came out, Stone Cold Steve Austin, arguably the greatest wrestler in history, said, even though Fandango's has a strange character, has a wonky character, he is extremely talented. And to get that vote of confidence from arguably the greatest of all time, and you want to make jokes? What? Who gets paid to do this? Because I'm not getting paid. I'm taking time away from my wife and my son. It's Father's Day. I'm not getting paid to sit here and do this. And yet you all have all these passionless douchebags sitting in an air-conditioned office with a bunch of former wrestlers that I would kill to meet, just saying, oh, hey, let's make these really talented guys douchebags. Let's set them up with a douchebag storyline that goes nowhere, really. It's a endless stretch of strings that you hop from one to the other. This story this time, this. Let's put costumes on them. Fuck it. And then when they wrestle for about 5 minutes, and then the talent comes out in the last 30 seconds. And that's it. Repackage them. Repackage Breeze. Repackage Fandango. How Breeze came out stronger from NXT, and now he looks worse than he is, I don't know. But one thing I did want to say, though, is shortly after that, we had the debut of Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis, which was sappy and douchey, but I'm kind of interested to see where their characters are going. It almost seems like Maria Kanellis, her return, she's going to be one of those psycho, like, you have to obey me type of people, and Mike Kanellis is going to be the I worship everything you do type of person. So the character could be good. It could go somewhere. It could mean something. And Mike Bennett is a decent wrestler. He's a heck of a wrestler. He can really get a match going. It's against who? I don't know. But it's interesting. I think that was an okay part. It was very strange, and obscurity isn't always the best thing, but it worked. So now we are on to the WWE Championship match between the Viper, Randy Orton, and Jinder Mahal. JG is going to like this review, I think. Just the start of it, though. I like the way Jinder built himself up to this match. He looked stronger. He looked intense. He looked like he didn't care what the people said. He wanted people to hate him, and I actually really like that. But what I saw tonight at Backlash was a match. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Backlash? I meant Money in the Bank. No. They were the exact same matches. Backlash, Money in the Bank. I don't think there's a difference. You know what? There is not a difference. The only difference was Cowboy Bob Orton, and his spot lasted all of 3 seconds. And it had nothing to do with Jinder. It was the Bolly Boys. So I don't care if the finish was Jinder winning. That's not a problem for me. Randy's going to get his Hall of Fame ring. I'm good with that. I didn't want to see the same match. TNA tried this shit one time. They tried Jeff Hardy versus Matt Morgan. 3 fucking pay-per-views in a row. All headliners. All the same match. Still garbage. And while I thought that Jinder worked harder in this match, I still didn't feel like it was anything new. And Randy no-sold moves. If you guys really pay attention to this pay-per-view, Go back, watch it. Come back to TOP's page. Listen to me again. Go back and watch it. What happened is Jinder was really working over Randy Orton's knee, as we saw. And Randy Orton really sold the pain. However, after he was done and it was time for Randy's comeback, Randy was walking just fine. There was no issue. He no-sold the knee. And I'm okay with it, but it felt weird. It didn't feel fluid. It just felt weird. So, ultimately, we have nothing over 5 right now in terms of a rating. This match was a 5 as well. It was the exact same as Backlash. So there's that. I'm not going to go much into the next match. It is the Breezango and Ascension match. For a second there, I thought who was going to come out in terms of the mystery opponents. It vaguely looked like the Authors of Pain, but I figured, no, they're NXT champs. They don't really need to be on there. Plus, the Authors of Pain don't talk much. That's why they have James Ellering. So when it was Ascension, I was like, great. There's Victor, who is basically a taller, talentless Christopher Daniels, and Connor, which is a fatter version of himself. I gave it a 2. There was nothing exciting about it. There's no build-up to it. The Vice promo sucked. What else are you going to throw at us, WWE, for me to fucking fast forward through? I'm glad the last match, the Money in the Bank ladder match, happened last, because I can finally end one of these on a high note. The Money in the Bank ladder match, consisting of Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura, was a pretty good match. Baron Corbin shut down Shinsuke's awesome entrance, which I actually really liked. I really liked that idea because Shinsuke has such a powerful aura in his entrances, and Baron shut that shit down quicker than people can start singing his stupid music. I say stupid. It's not stupid. I love it. I listen to it all the time. I listen to it every morning. Get jacked up. And I thought that was the coolest shit ever. I thought that really set Baron where he needed to be for that match. And of course, AJ was AJ. There was some random weird botches by AJ and Dolph Ziggler. There was a ladder botch between those two. There's some weird stuff. And really, the big spots didn't come. It was a very slow build to a match that I thought was going to get started very similarly to the Elimination Chamber match, which was amazing. It started off quick. It was like a TNA X Division match. It was like, couldn't keep up. But it was real slow. Shinsuke injured, out of the match. For those of you who've watched wrestling for 15, 20 years, 2 years now, I guess, whatever, you knew that Shinsuke was coming back. You know, there's something also that it was kind of a strange moment in the match where you heard this noise and the fans stood up and they like had a reaction. They all looked. It was probably like the bottom left of your screen when you were watching it. And I was curious what that was about. So if anybody gets that, make sure you comment it down there after you hit the subscribe button. Let us know what it was. Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Shout us out on there. I'm curious to see what that was. And then as I'm typing my note, I'm saying no big spots yet in my notes. And as soon as that happened, Sami Zayn did a sunset flip on Dolph Ziggler off the top of the ladder, which immediately I knew that was going to be the move, but I was really nervous for Sami because he's injury prone and you get a little worried about these guys because they have great matches. You want to see them fight. And he executed really well. For both him and Ziggler, it was a great spot. I really enjoyed it. Both safe and really cool looking. You know, and then shortly after that, Zayn's out there again on the apron with Kevin Owens, and he does that half Nelson suplex, German suplex, and on the apron, man, I about lost my mind. KO is a big guy. Like, to see him hit the apron that hard is like cringing almost. You want to, I don't know, it's just kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies just because it looked rough. At that point, Baron Corbin was setting up a ladder between these steel steps and the announce table, which I believe is the French or the German, whichever third one they put out there. You know, and then him and AJ started going at it, and then AJ ran at him, and Baron grabbed him, chokeslammed him. Imagine it was supposed to be through the ladder, which the ladder didn't break. It's like, oh shit, that looked like that really hurt. And then after AJ does his thing, he gets up, Baron falls out, whatever the case may be. It's AJ and Owens on the apron by the ladder. I mean, guys who've taken 2 really rough falls in the past 5 minutes. And then AJ does this Death Valley driver off the apron to the ladder, and it doesn't break again. And I'm like, damn, this is getting intense. Like, this shit looks like it hurts. I feel it. Like, I can feel it. I'm really excited about the match. And then AJ decides to be Jeff fucking Hardy and hang from the chain above the briefcase as Dolph Ziggler pulled the ladder out from under him. And I'm like, no way. Like, what is the spot now? This is going to be crazy. Nothing happened. But the spot was that AJ fell from that. And at first I'm like, no big deal. But when he actually fell, it was a ways down. It took him a minute to get down. And I was kind of worried. I was like, oh shit, he really fell hard. Like, but, you know, if you watch TNA, you watch WCW with AJ Styles, I mean, he's been doing spots like that for forever. So he knew what he was doing, and he fell. And, you know, it is what it is. It was a great spot. I loved it. I loved every bit about it. Sure enough, Shinsuke comes out, acting all injured, and just fucking destroys everybody. Baron, Sammy, Dolph Ziggler. And he gets in there, and the best part of the match, and the best part of the pay-per-view really, is that New Japan, like, there's Shinsuke at the bottom of the ladder. And all you see is Shinsuke getting ready to climb. And as soon as he looks across from the ladder, it's AJ at the bottom of the ladder. And they just stare at each other, and you get that feel, and they move the ladder out of the way just to fight. And for those of you who don't understand, New Japan is a big deal, and that's where they really first fought each other. So for you diehard fans, it was like, oh my god, here we go. But at that moment, at the same time, I knew they both weren't going to win. Because they were going to, you know, fuck each other up and fall out of the ring and beat each other up, so there's no way. So I, you know, turned to my son, his Father's Day, I turned to him and said, man, I think it's going to be Sami Zayn or Baron Corbin. And he's a big Sami Zayn fan. And sure enough, it was Corbin to take advantage, pushing the ladder out of the way. And good for him, man. I mean, Corbin's put in a lot of work. I thought he needed something extra, and he really just needed to put in the time and work against big-name people is what he needed. And it's really paid off for him, so I'm happy for him. I was happy with that match for the most part. I actually rated an 8 out of 10. I thought there were some hiccups here and there, and AJ didn't look as crisp as he does usually, but there were a lot of moments in that match that it was well worth the sit and watch, for sure. So overall, as far as the Money in the Bank 2017 pay-per-view, I rated it a 6. That 8 on the last match brought it up from about a 4, but for the most part, we were averaging 4 to 5. So I think a 6 is fair. Not the best Money in the Bank, not the worst Money in the Bank. I'd rate NXT Chicago well over this pay-per-view from tonight. So it's just another one of those that, for those of you classic wrestling fans who've been around for 30 years watching wrestling, it's tough to watch some of it. Some of it's good. For those of you millennials who just love to watch it and you have a different way of viewing it, you know, then I hope it was great for you. But ultimately, I think it could have been better. So, you know, and that's all I got to say about that. Money in the Bank 2017, okay. But it's even better than Money in the Bank 2017 is the Outsiders podcast. We are going to be bringing you live reviews from Raw, SmackDown, Wrestler Bios Wednesdays and Thursdays. We're going to be recording still on Podomatic, Podbean, Spreaker.com, iTunes. You're going to get a lot of content on YouTube. And please, 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 like I said, subscribe. We need to show YouTube that wrestling matters, and wrestling is a real passion, real focus for a lot of people, including people like the Outsiders, JG Tommy, Mean Dean, JD from NY, Adam from What Culture, whoever you want to subscribe to all three. Sign that change.org petition for the wrestling rights, for advertising, and just really support the wrestling community as much as you can. Again, it's right there somewhere. It's either there or there. Hit that subscribe button right now, right before I go off. For Josh Lockwood, aka Mean Dean, the Outsiders Podcast, Money in the Bank 2017 review, we out.